Greetings, one and all. How y'all doing? How you feeling? How y'all feeling? How you feeling? It's your brother King Simon in the building. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hey. King Simon is in the mother flipping building, family. You know what it is, all day, every day. And you know we are on the mathematical universe, man. This is the mathematical universe. That's right. Don't y'all forget it. Yes. Today is usually the day on a Tuesday is when I go live and I talk to the audience. I have them call in, but I don't know. I might open the lines. I haven't decided yet because I wanted to focus on something. Of course, you see it scrolling on the bottom. Parents and their children. Everyone has their own path, and a lot of parents want to force things on it. My mother tried to force certain things on me. You know, my father tried to force the military on me back in the day. It is what it is because that was the path that they walked. But you got to remember, their parents and their children, everyone has their own path. A numerovational perspective. I'm going to come from a numerovational perspective, expressed by your brother King Simon. We're broadcasting on YouTube. We're broadcasting on IG. We're broadcasting. I didn't broadcast on Facebook. I forgot to broadcast on Facebook, but I will share the link on Facebook right now. I will share the link on Facebook right now. But this is the topic. Whatever you're seeing right now, this is the topic that we're going to discuss for an hour or so. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. We are all family, and we're all working together in this great universe that we're in, this mathematical universe that we're in. And I'm proud of every one of you. If no one has said it to you, I am proud of every one of you out there. I'm proud of whatever you've tried to do with your children. I'm proud of what your parents tried to do with you. Even if your father wasn't there or your mother wasn't there, whether he was adopted, I'm proud of you to make it to this point. I'm proud that you made it to this point. And please, if you're on Instagram or if you're on YouTube, please share this link. Please share this link. Please share this link. All right. And please, if you're hearing me, please put the number 1 in the chat. If you could hear me on Instagram, you could hear me on YouTube, put the number 1 in the chat. Okay. Because as I'm sharing this link to Facebook right now, I want to share it to my Facebook feed right now so people can watch me on Facebook. I forgot to do the Facebook link. If you can hear me, put the number 1 in the chat. If you can hear me, put the number 1 in the chat. If you can hear me very clearly. Good. Shay Morgan, she's responding. Thank you very much, Shay Morgan. And those that are in Instagram, thank y'all for responding. Okay, the Yogi's responding, of course. Queen Ra's responding. Everybody's responding. That's good. At least if I got a few ones, I understand. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, the topic sometimes is a rough topic. Sometimes this is a rough topic for parents to understand, for children to understand. Sometimes this is a rough topic, and I understand. Believe me, because I've been through it also. I've been through it with my parents, especially my mother, because my father was in and out of our lives. And, and this is very important for young people that, your parents mean well. Your parents do mean well. I have to say that in all respect. Your parents mean well. I meant well, even though I was in and out of my majority of my children's life, chasing entertainment and doing all that, seeing if I can make a way to do what I love to do. But your parents do mean well. And if I do open up the lines, that's what I want to focus on. What is it that your parents did? Or what is it that you are doing with your children that may be similar to your parents? And sometimes, a sister texted me today and she wanted to do something for her children, right? She wanted to do a numerovational session for her children. And I'm just mention what my response was. I'm going to mention what my response. I'm not going to say who the name of the person was, but I think it's very important. But she booked a session with me. And she said she wanted to do something for her children. Her children's like, in their 20s, their early 20s. And I said to her, and I say this to all of you, don't try to force nothing that I do or Lloyd does or anybody else with astrology, numerology. Don't try to force nothing. If they gravitate to it, then you assist and guide. Because like I said to this lady, I said, focus on you. They're grown. If they are not used to what type of work I do, don't force it. I don't suggest doing anything for them until they are ready. Remember, your walk is different from their walk in this life. Let them watch a few of my shows first and then see if they gravitate to it. If they were 0 to 13 years of age, if they were children from 0 to 13 years of age, it will be a little different. Then I can help you to mold them in their formative years. But when they've reached 20 and in their teens and they're getting kind of rebellious, I'm very focused. I'm very focused. And I said to her, we mean well as parents, but we have to allow them to find their own walk. I have 9 children, and I don't force it. I allow them to gravitate to it, and then they may ask questions. And yes, my children ask me questions when they realize that there might be something to this numbers thing, because everybody don't understand that numerology is a universal thing. It just means the study of numbers. So any form of application or study of numbers is numerology. I hope everybody gets that in the chat. Please share this. Please share, like, subscribe, whatever you got to do. So it's important that we realize that. Don't force our children. Don't force. And I know many of you as adults didn't like when your mother and your father forced it. But believe me, I didn't like when my mother and father tried to force. My father tried. He seen I was going through some stuff in my age of my 15, 16, 17 and tried to direct me to the military because he joined the military. But from his perspective, he was forced into the military because of a stepfather that didn't like him. And the stepfather basically said, I'm probably paraphrasing, but I remember him telling me the story. It's basically, there can't be 2 men in this house. It's what the stepfather is telling my father at the age of 16 years of age. So my father, when he came here to America, he decided to join the military. So he joined the military around 16 years of age. My own father was a former Marine. So, but, to this day, I can tell my father has been traumatized from being dropped into the Vietnam War at a young age like that. You can only depend on, you only had like 16 minutes of survival at that time. Coming from Jamaica, coming to a mother that he thought loved him, and she did love him, but she loved the relationship that she was in more, and she allowed the man to force her child outside of the house. And respect to my grandmother. My grandmother was a very beautiful person as far as towards me. But sometimes what we do with our children before we have grandchildren can be very either deplorable, disrespectful. You could choose a man over that child or choose a woman over that child. Believe me, I've seen it. It has happened to me and my family. So I know that these things can happen. And we got to recognize these things. That's why the topic today is what is stated, like you see screening on the bottom. But the full topic is parents and their children. Everyone has their own path, a numerovational perspective. That's what I'm giving, a numerovational perspective. You know what I'm saying? That is what I'm giving. I'm not giving an astrological perspective. I'm not giving a cardology perspective. All those things are connected to numbers. And I purposely put my 3 books instead of 4 books on my line. I put 3 of my books. The children's book, I put the Numbers Are Simple, People Are Complicated book on this flyer, and I put my No Promotion is Bad Promotion, because at the end of the day, looking at those 3 books, these 3 books reminded me of my journey. Let me say that again. The 3 books that I have on the screen with these flyers, y'all know I have 4 books and I'm writing 6 more. But the 3 books that I put on this screen purposefully is because they reflect the journey that I was on. The journey of accepting what my father did, but didn't understand what my father did, then eventually seeing my cousin. And it was my cousin that really geared me towards promotion and DJing. Because sometimes our children get their guidance not from their parents. Their parents may have been saying it all the time, but sometimes our children get their guidance for someone that they're closer to, like their cousin or like their friend or like their somebody that they can talk to. Because sometimes, especially in Jamaican families, Jamaican Cuban families, you are supposed to be seen and not heard. Let me say that again. From the old school methodology of Caribbean families and probably old school Southerners, FBA, if you want to call yourself Foundational Black American, whatever, but from a Caribbean standpoint and from the old school standpoint, you are to be seen and not heard. That's what children had to do back in the day. And I was a part of that generation, being born in the late 60s. I'm born in 67. However, as things start to grow and graduate and things start to evolve, so to speak, we started having a word. We started having something to say. Sometimes we'll say it under our breath. Oh, why is she telling me to do that? And then she'll say, what you said? And then all of a sudden, this hand just comes from across the room and smack. And all of a sudden, you get smacked because you thought you could say whatever you want to say. How many people have experienced that in their life? Somebody said that was my family. Yes, Isis Ma'at. Isis A. Ma'at said that was my family. Yes, that's many of our families. Sometimes that hand, you don't even know the hand coming. And all of a sudden, it's like a flying hand just come and smack you across your face and say, what you said under your breath? Say it loud. Say it loud. If you black and you proud, say it loud. And we listening to James Brown now. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. You can say it loud if you want to, but I guarantee you it's going to be a broom. It's going to be a pot. It's going to be a pan. It's going to be a switch following that say it loud. You black and you're proud. Say it loud. Woo! So I've been through it. My mother would chase me down the damn stairs. I didn't even know that old lady could run. Well, from my perception, she was old, but you got to remember, she had me at the age of 29. So by the time I reached a certain age, she was in her 30s getting it in. So she was still agile, ready to catch me. So I could be trying to run down the stairs, and all my mother do is just this long Mr. Fantastic hand. And I don't even think I remember reading anything about Mr. Fantastic. But this long Mr. Fantastic hand, my mother just used to grab me, pick me up, and whoop my ass. Sets. So I understand. Believe me, I understand. Some of us comes from that pedigree of parents that believed in the rod. Y'all know the rod of correction. Spared the rod, hated the child. That is what they've been taught throughout their Bibles, throughout their scriptures. Spared the rod, hated the child. Woo! And sometimes you can get laid on with some whoopings. And Lord, you wish that rod was spared. And I was a rebellious child. I won't doubt it. She'll say one thing, I'll do something else. That's the Aquarian way. When I was under the misnomer Aquarian. Now I'm unlimited. I'm not Aquarian anymore. I still have a few of the nuances and the little guidance of the Aquarian. I still have the little nuances and the guidance of the number one being born on the first. But I'm infinite now. I'm infinity. All of us, if we recognize that we are infinite, that these words that we call Aquarius and Zodiac are just guides. These numbers are just your guides now, because in the other realm, we're not known as an Aquarius. It's when we come through here and have a birth date, we're not known as a number 1 through 9. It's when we come through here, we become this, because we need to be reminded, because astrology, numerology, and all these different type of systems and modalities are here to remind us, and so we can be accountable of what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to do things in this life and in this realm. We're not the Aquarian. We're not the Scorpion. We're not the Libra. We are the ones that came through at that particular time that denotes us as that. We're not the number 1 through 9 or the 1 through 31st. We came through at a particular day and time in this realm that denotes that, but are we willing to use it to guide us back into our ultimate infinite self? Because numbers are infinite. Numbers are infinite. I can die tomorrow, I can start counting today, die tomorrow, come back, or die 10 years from now, come back, still counting, and it's infinite. That's why the infinity symbol was such an important symbol to make sure it existed back in 1655. That's when the infinity symbol was presented to this Western hemisphere, although the infinity symbol already existed because it is similar to the number 8, like I've said many times, but this was inspired. The infinity symbol was inspired by the number 8. But it is not the number 8 in a mathematical perspective. It is inspired by the number 8. So we in the metaphysics world use it and call it an erected infinity symbol, because then we understand symbolism, because that's how we learn, through symbolism, repetition, and through trauma, like Brother Panic and Phil Valentine and people like Jewel Pookrum has said. We learn through symbolism, because numbers are symbol. This is a symbol. We learn through symbolism. We learn through trauma. We learn through repetition. That is the absolute fact. That's how we learn. That's why if somebody smacked you, you can be in a good relationship all your life with that man or that woman. But soon as she smacked you or punch you, or you punch her and smack her, you'll always remember that trauma. That trauma. That trauma. So we got to pay close attention to what we accept and what we use as symbols and what we accept as trauma and what is repetitiously going on in our mind, especially as parents, because sometimes our parents pass it on to our children. Like the great Brother Panic said, he used to say, go and read this book. What's that book he used to tell us to read? Mind Control 101 by Doc Talion. Mind Control 101. Very good book. I have the book. It's in my archive in storage. But it's a very good book that pinpoints all the different traumas and all the different mind control methods used from our family, used from our mothers, our fathers, especially if they split apart. There's a lot of mind control being done, especially if you have to go to your mother's side, go to your mother's side of the family, go to your father's side. Mind control in media, movies, music, it's all mind control. All mind control. So big up to Brother Panic for sharing that book back in the day. The book is called Mind Control 101. Let me put that in the chat so y'all can see it. Excuse me. Mind Control 101. That's the name of the actual the book by Doc Talion. Doc Talion. I remember that name, Doc Talion, because studying history and all that about Doc Talion and all those warriors back in the day and those writers back in the day. There was one called Doc Talion, but this was called Mind Control 101. If you can get it, order it on Amazon, read it, and you'll see the different forms of mind control from a multiplicity of levels. Big up to Panic that shared that wisdom with us back in the day, the late great Brother Panic. And Bobby Hammett also shared that kind of wisdom with us. So, not going to be up here long, but, I might just open the phone lines for everybody. But I've been cleaning up the house before certain things happen. And I guess there's a lot of dust going on. I don't really have the cough anymore. There was a lingering cough like myself and Brother Rich was talking about, but I don't really have the cough anymore. And I'm glad because I'm heading down to Florida soon. So I wanted to share some news with y'all before I get into the rest of the subject. I wanted to share some news with y'all from a website called Spirituality News. Science Daily. It's from Science Daily. This was an article written on December the 18th. No, December the 1st. All right. So, and the article is called "Meditation Training Can Support Well-Being in Older Adults." Because a lot of the older brothers and sisters out there have gone through a lot of trauma. And a lot of the trauma that you have endured, people, a lot of the trauma that you have endured over the years is due to a lot of the trauma that your parents have passed on from generation to generation. From generation to generation. Very important to recognize that. And let me share screen real quick. And here it is. This is the website that I'm talking about. This one is called ScienceDaily.com. ScienceDaily.com. They also have metaphysics and all that kind of stuff. And the article is from University College of London. Following an 18-month meditation program can improve the well-being of older adults. Finds a new randomized controlled trial by an international team. So it goes on to saying the findings published in PLOS 1 shows that meditation can improve people's awareness, connection to others, and insight. Let me say that again. Findings published at PLOS 1 shows that meditation can improve people's awareness, connection, and others, and insight. We've been knowing about this in the quote-unquote conscious community. We've been knowing about this for years. We've been knowing about this. Dr. Valentine used to teach it. Of course, Joel Pookrum taught it. Of course, Dr. Blair used to teach on this meditation stuff. It's like they're just finding this out now. They're just finding this out now. While the meditation training, they go on to say, while the meditation training did not confer significant benefits on two commonly used measures of psychological well-being, the quality of life, the researchers say, their findings may reveal limitations in existing methods of tracking well-being. Lead author Marco Schussler, a psychiatrist of the University of Geneva, said, as the global population ages, it is increasingly crucial to understand how we can support older adults in maintaining and deepening their psychological well-being. In our studies, we tested whether long-term meditation training can enhance important dimensions of well-being. Our findings suggest that meditation is a promising non-pharmacological approach to support human flourishing in late life. The studies is the longest randomized meditation training trial conducted to date. from their perspective, of course, and explores the impact of 18-month meditation programs on the psychological well-being of more than 130 healthy French-speaking people ages 65 to 84. The studies led by principal investigator Professor Gaël Chatel, I can't pronounce that name. That's a French name. It took place in Sion, Florida, Sion, France. So the full article is, I'm going to put it in the chat. If you want to read the full article, it should be interesting, something to share with your parents, something to share with your elders in your family, something to share if you can with them. Here's the full article. I'll put it in the chat. And let me put it in the Instagram chat also. Put it in the Instagram chat also, so you can see it for yourself on Instagram. It's in the Instagram chat, and again, let me say this: Dr. Blair and all of our great ones have been teaching on the science of meditation for many years, over 30, 40 years. A lot of this stuff that's being found in the Science Daily, we've been doing it. A lot of you have been doing it. And I also encourage not just the older people, but encourage young people to do it also. Encourage young people to do it also. And I suggest that you catch them from young. I suggest that you catch them from young, because the topic, again, parents and their children, everyone has their own path, but it's important to try to catch a child from when they're young. That's why Napoleon Bonaparte always used to say, if you want to get things done, you got to get the young people from young, and you can do wonders with them. I mean, I'm butchering up the whole quote, but you got to get them from young. So practice, if you have grandchildren or you have young children, practice little games and call it the silent game, where they could only write or draw what they want to talk about. Practice the silent game, and then practice with your children little meditation. With my two youngest children, Jordan and Yasira, I used to take them to the park and have them sit down on a tree log and tell them to close their eyes and tell me what they hear. Make sure we're close to a tree. Make sure we're far from the noise of other people. And we used to do this in Fort Greene Park. And I used to sit them down, and they will hear squirrels running. They would hear birds flying. They will hear leaves falling, because they were learning to tap into their inner senses and their inner understanding, and learning to be able to listen to what's going on the outside. But if they was practicing it more, they will understand their inner frequency, not just paying attention to squirrels and birds and all that kind of stuff. But I asked them to tell me what they heard, and they was telling me what they heard, and that was good. That was a good exercise for young people at that time, especially my younger children. So big up to them that allowed me to conduct that exercise, because I was their father and they respected me at that age as young beings. So it's important to recognize that every one of us have their own individual walk. And sometimes you got to see what your child or your grandchild gravitates to in order to guide them to it and allow them to grow in it. You notice I keep on saying that word allow, like our dear brother, Dr. B. Sirius always said, because the word allow in numerology, not just I am, but the word allow has a mathematical frequency of the 1, the 3, the 3, the 3, the 3, the 6, the 7, the 5, and the 6. It has a mathematical frequency in the Chaldean system and the Pythagorean system. So when I see it in the Chaldean system, that's 10, that's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So allow is a number 20, and in numerology, the number 20 is the number of awakening. So the word allow allows you to awaken in, because the number 20 is the number of the awakening and discernment and something spiritual that's supposed to happen, not necessarily on the material world. That's what the number 20, if you read my book, Numerovation for Mental Stability, I talk about the number 20. As a matter of fact, you know I love to read and go to the board. So going right to the number 20 in my book on page in Numerovation for Mental Stability, I do suggest people it's called the symbol of divine awakening. The number 20 is the symbol of the divine awakening, clear judgment. I call it a master number potential because anything that 0 follows adds potential to it. The number 20, the word allow connected to the number 20 is a cooperative number. I'm just adding on the words that I've added. It's a friendly number. So that's a friendly word. That's a cooperative word. It's a word of intuition and being able to tap into your intuition, because the number 2 is a highly intuitive number. So people born on the 11th, the 2, the 11th, the 20th of the month, or the 29th can be very highly intuitive people. So that word allow is also connected to these words, because 29 equals 11, which equals a 2. 20 equals a 2. 11 equals a 2. And the word allow also is connected to the number 22, but it's also connected to the master number 23. It actively is connected to the healing and the Christ anointed energy of the master number 33. In the word, because of the double L's. So I'm going to take an L, but I'm not going to take a loss. I'm going to take a ladder of healing, a ladder of growth, a ladder of climbing. I'm not going to take an L because of loss. I'm going to take an L because I'm going to deal with the L with the allowing of it, because that is the master number potential of divine awakening when you allow yourself to be awakening. Big up to Dr. B. Sirius for allowing us to use that word, because that's a word we've been used to saying, I am, so much that we need to allow ourselves before we become the I am, because many of us might say, I am a millionaire, and we don't have 2 cents to rub, 2 nickels to scrub, 2 dimes to scrape. But you're saying, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire. But the word allow is not only spiritual, but it's a divine awakening in the mind of the person that allows this to happen in the Chaldean system. In the Pythagorean system, you see 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So the number 18 in tarot is the number of the moon. So again, it takes you back to a spiritual aspect, an insightful aspect, an intuitive aspect, but it adds up to a number 9. So whatever is done with that number 18, it deals with creativity. It deals with infinite attraction to currency, whether it's physical or spiritual currency, but it equates to the number 9, which deals with completion, seeing things till it's finished. Allowing yourself to be international. So the word allow is an international number that's connected to the symbol of the moon. Again, the intuitive moon work or the star work that you have to do. If you understand what I'm saying, put the number 1 in the chat. If you understand or understand what I'm saying from a numerovational perspective, why it's important to allow your children to be them. And some children will become reckless. Some children will become criminals. Some children will become deviant. Some children will become liars. Some of them will become that. No doubt, they will become that. But you got to allow them to walk. You got to allow them to walk their walk. You got to allow them to walk their walk and talk their talk when it's time, because in the traveling and the walking is when you learn your lessons. That word lesson has double S's. Master number, double 1s in the Pythagorean system, the S is the double 3 in the Chaldean system. So already the runway of the number 11 is there. If you look at a runway, it looks like 2 lines going into infinity. That's what the runway of the number 11. Thanks for Miss Blue for reminding me of that number 11 being a runway to extreme advancement on one level, but also on another level can be extreme deception on another level. So that word lesson, everyone has to go through their lessons and get their blessings out of their lessons. Some people survive until the end, until they get their blessings. Some people die before. Some people transition before. But that is up to them. Remember that. That is up to your children. You can be, and that's why it's important in the formative years to give them a lot of this knowledge and wisdom and start playing it around them. So by the time they get in their by the time they get in their teenage years and they want to be rebellious, but they'll still remember. They'll be talking to their friends and still remembering certain things. Like Tupac. Tupac still was able to remember. Tupac was able to remember what his parents and his stepfather taught that was in the Black Panthers, and he incorporated that in a lot of his teachings. It's just that one lesson that he got his life taken. Him being born on the 16th, now think about it. 16, as if y'all read my book, 16 is one of those numbers of fatality if you don't plan what you're doing. He didn't plan it out. Let's be real. My brother Tupac, who I did security for, did not plan it out. I did security briefly as I was in the Nation of Islam when he first got shot. They hired the Nation of Islam to take him to the courthouse, from the hospital, from different places. For 48 hours, I was with him. The rest of the team was on him for probably another week until he left town. But I was on him for 48 hours. And I'm going to write that in my autobiography, 24 to 48 hours with Pac. That's going to be in my autobiography. Very, very deep stuff from the FBI, CIA coming in to try to get in, from Pac running out of the hospital, from the secret location we had to take him to, seeing his mother, meeting his mother at the secret location for the first time, meeting Jada Pinkett, meeting Tretch and a lot of the entertainers. Tupac was born on that 16 that needed to plan, or if they don't plan, they plan to fail. And that crucial night when they beat up that guy in that hotel, he should have planned it out. He should have really planned it out. It's deep, but it is what it is. So before I finish, I hope everybody understand what I'm saying here. From a numerovational perspective, your parents should have allowed you to be who you are. And especially in America. Now, in other countries like India and China, some of them don't even have that. Some of them have to become doctors or code. And I interviewed, I did a session with a person from India, a person from Germany yesterday. Not going to say their name and all that kind of stuff. And they were from India. They lived it. They're born in. They're from their parents. They're from India. But what's so interesting about that? He's a young guy, and his parents are forcing him to marry an Indian woman, a woman from India, which I understand. People from India don't want to corrupt their bloodline. I got it. And I said it to him on the line, and he said, yes, exactly. They don't want to corrupt their bloodline. People in China, Korea, all of them don't want to corrupt their bloodline because they believe that the superiority of their bloodline, as far as the intelligence of it, should be preserved. If you add dilute it with European or Black or anything else, they don't believe that it will maintain a superior attitude of what they have been passed on to and been taught all their life. And I get it. Some of us as melanated people should have thought like that. To maintain, especially if you're coming out of the building blocks of humanity, and the original people maybe should not have mixed themselves. But in this society, they promote a lot of the mixing and then they promote the neutrinoid beauty of mixing, that because you're lighter and you have more curlier hair, you're better than everybody else. Some of them are the most craziest people out there. Some of those mixed up and fixed up people are some of the most crazy and confused people out there. And I know this from a fact because of people in my family or people that I knew or, watching certain entertainers or whatever. I'm telling you, they can be some of the craziest people out there. And no disrespect to anyone on here that might be having a white mother and a black father or a black father and a white mother. No disrespect to you at all. Because we're in the melting pot of America. We're in the melting pot of the Americas right now. So I got it. No problem. You just have to make sure you understand the duality and how to use the duality of your mother's side and your father's side. So if you have a white mother and a black father, or a black father and a white mother, know the duality of how to use the germ of those different sides, the DNA of those different sides, and how it can help you to be better. Because a lot of people say everybody is mixed up and fixed up. No, everybody is not mixed up and fixed up. Everybody has not everybody has been infiltrated on this planet. Not everybody. Many people in the United States, many people in the Caribbean, yes, but not everybody. People like to throw that whole blanket thing. No, everybody has not been mixed up and fixed up and mixed up by Europeans. No. They didn't infiltrate everybody. That's not the truth. That is not a fact at all. It's not until we started migrating. And remember, if people like Kaba Kamene is saying that lesser melanated people are just descended of highly melanated people, if the science proves that, cool. If there's a fact behind that, cool. I'm not going to get into that debate. But the premise here is parents and their children, everyone has their own path. You got to allow your children to walk their path. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, like this person is saying, oh, my daughter is born on the 16th. She's 8 years old. Well, you got to make sure that she is intuitively moving. And what she intuitively gravitates to, if she gravitates to Legos or doing here or whatever, then you have to help her to lay out the planning blueprint for her to accomplish that goal. You can't force it, because at the end of the day, I know women that have been doing hair for years and they know they should turn it into business, but their fingers start to hurt. They start getting carpal tunnel and all that kind of stuff. Some people don't want to do that after a while if you force it on them. So you got to let them love what they do, especially if a person born on the 16th, they got to be creative and they have to find balance in whatever they do. And they got to love what they do. You cannot force it. Some of y'all like to force things. No, guide them to what they're attracted to and what they excel in most. Then you help them become what they want to become. That's how I show people how to guide their children. My child loved Legos. One of my second oldest child loved Legos. Great builder, great build spaceships and all types of. I got pictures of it. He wanted to be an architectural design, but life got him to the point he went into cutting hair and doing real estate. Still got into something that deals with, buildings and all that, got into real estate and all that. But he was very good at a young age at just building stuff with Legos. Legos is usually that introduction. Legos are introductions. And remember, women that like to say, that's my child. That's my child. You can't do this with my child. They came through you. It came through you. They're not yours. They came through you. And if you are responsible enough to let them cohabitate with their father, if you're not with them, or cohabitate with whatever relative, if they're not with them, you got to find balance. Now, I know some people are knuckleheads. Some women can be knuckleheads. Some men can be knuckleheads. Some family members can be knuckleheads. But whatever a child learns, that is their lesson. Whatever they take, just as long as you keep on presenting a clean glass of water, no matter what, you present the clean glass of water. No matter what, you present a clean glass of water. So anytime the child comes to you, you're not talking bad about the father, or you're not talking bad about the mother. You present the clean glass of water, because at the end of the day, if you put a clean glass of water or a clean bottle of water and pour some dirt in another bottle of water and put it in front of the child will take the clean glass all the time. The babies know what dirt is. They don't want that dirty water in my mouth. I don't want that. They want the clean glass of water. Now, we've guided our children into drinking soda and other juices and teas, like Dr. Africa used to say, tea is just dirty water. That's all he said. It's just dirty water. What an interesting way to look at it. Although the herbal teas are supposed to be helpful, but in actuality, it is just dirty water. Sodas are just dirty forms of water with chemicals and all that. But we got our children drinking sodas and canned sodas and bottled sodas and all kinds of madness. Talking about and that becomes their comfort foods. They come through us. And us as parents can either pay attention to them so well that we know what they should be guided to or what they should be learning. Even if they're so-called autistic. I don't even like to use that word, autistic. It just means that they're artistic. They just learn differently than you and learn differently than what the society deems them to be regular. That's all. And if, like Dr. Africa said in the book, the textbook of African holistic health, and he said in his children's book on parenting, if the child does not become what they're supposed to become because of our mindset from a European perspective, then that child in a Black community and the parents in that Black community has failed. Now, I'm paraphrasing, because one thing about us in our most antiquitous and our ancient times, we knew how to handle a lot of those type of quote unquote ailments holistically. And then we knew how to teach our children from a holistic a lot of the autism and all this stuff is showing up now in this society because of what's been put on us, from the chemicals to this, to that. You know what it is. I'm not going to say the words and all that kind of stuff. They're not taking down this particular lie from not letting that happen. But if you research autism, you'll find that it shows up more in America. More of it is in America. And that's due to a lot of the chemical, the inundated, being inundated with chemicals and all kinds of stuff in our foods, in our waters, in everything. A lot of that is coming up. And then our parents are drinking it, and then our children are, and then certain Planned Parenthood injections are problematic and all that kind of stuff. A lot of craziness is going on in this world. However, again, family, topic is, before I close out, topic is parents and their children. Everyone has their own path. And sometimes you have to let the child walk their own path. Allow them to be. Check on them. Make sure they're on. I have a community, a group chat with my children. Some may answer, some may not. Some might be angry with me, some may not. Some may want to just do their own thing, some may not. It's cool. I'm not going to stress my mind. That's why I stay looking young, and I laugh through all that. I was watching a movie, a documentary the other day, The Secrets of the Blue. I think it was called The Secret of the Blue Lands or Blue something. But it was about the secret of living to 100 years of age. And those people in Okinawa and all that, 100 and something years old, could be in the Caribbean, 100 and something years old, could be in certain other parts of the world, hundreds down south, could be 100 and something. But one of the main things that they said, and they were showing all 3 generations or 4 generations of children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. One of the main things that older lady from Okinawa said, she said, laughter. Laughing and having fun. Laugh. Blue Zone. Yes, the Blue Zone. Yes. That was what I watched last night. Blue Zone. Secrets of the Blue Zone. Very good movie on Netflix. Very good documentary on Netflix. That lady said, laughter is what kept her going. Laughter. Great movie. Somebody said it's a great movie. Yes, it was a great movie, Alexander. Great movie. Laughter. Just that's why I laugh so much. And I got my teeth. I may have some of the I got a few teeth that I have to work on in the back, but they're not removing my wisdom teeth. But I know I had to work on my molar. Beautiful movie, a beautiful thing. And I was listening very attentively while I'm taking in what they're saying. And I didn't even finish watching it all. But that first half made me understand why my grandfather, who lived to 103, he loved to laugh. He loved to talk. He loved to express himself. He didn't hold things in. Whatever he held in was probably from his early parts of his life that developed certain colon issues. But he didn't want no surgery, so he did the herbal thing. And he was supposed to get surgery at 89, but instead he started doing a lot of herbal things and changing his diet and all that kind of stuff. And guess what? He lived to 103. And he loved to laugh. His boys would say, "Hey, boy, you something else, you something else." He'll always hear about my antics going on in America, and he'll say, "Boy, it's something else, man, it's something else," and laugh. He'll laugh it off. That's why my grandfather was and lived to 103, even when he was suffering, when he didn't have one eye. He didn't have one eye because of an accident. And when he was around his 80s, his early 80s, he actually got laser surgery on that one eye so he can see better because he loved to read. He loved to read his newspapers. So he wanted to make sure his eyes were still working. He even got LASIK surgery in his 80s and was still able to see and all that kind of thing through that one eye. He was like Nick Fury from the Avengers. It was like Nick Fury, but he didn't wear a patch. You know what I'm saying? I should have bought him a patch. He would look very cool with the patch. You know what I'm saying? He was the old ass Nick Fury. That's what I call him, the old ass Nick Fury. So again, family, let your children walk their path. Guide them, yes. Show them the different things. I like what Neil deGrasse Tyson said. One of his interviews, I think it was with that English dude. I forgot the name of his program. A guy from England, a light-skinned guy that just interviewed Busta Rhymes. I think his family's from Nigeria, and one of his parents Nigerian, one of his European. But he asked Neil deGrasse Tyson what his parents did. And his parents, who were great individuals, took him to different things to see what they gravitate to. Took them to different, had them, into everything, the sports, everything. Go take them to everything. And big up to the mothers that do that. The mothers, sometimes the fathers at work, but the mothers are the ones that, if the father's taking care of business, taking care of the household, the mothers are one that's in charge of showing them or taking them to different things. Not on Star Talk. It wasn't on Star Talk, that interview. It was something else. It was another, he was actually interviewed in England by a guy, but it wasn't on Star Talk. But he said that his mother or his father took them to different science fairs, took him to different things, took him to different places. He got into wrestling. He was a very good wrestler, all of that stuff. Very good wrestler. That means he could take you down, quick. You know what I'm saying? He big dude. I met him too. I got a picture with him. Met him too. Tall dude. Met him at Brooklyn Academy of Music when he spoke at Brooklyn Academy of Music a couple of years ago. Myself and Dr. Angela went. So, again, sometimes you got to expose your children to different things to see what they gravitate to, whether it's sports. And even if you get them into sports, make sure they have something, a business behind that, because remember, sports is a business. You got agents, you got general managers, you got tour managers, you got massage therapists, you got all of that in the sports arena. You don't have just people playing ball. You have coaches, you have assistant coaches, you have everybody in there making money. Everybody making money, because some of our children just want to be, I want to play ball. It's 1,000,000 to 1. You might get it to make it to be that ball player. They find ball players in places that I never even heard of, in North Carolina, South Carolina, and different parts of New York, places I never heard of. That's where they find ball players and soccer players and all that kind of stuff. So you got to encourage them to also what they want to turn into a business. One time I asked my son, and I'm going to close out on this, and he thought he was slick, but he didn't know his father. My father, I'm one of those people well-studied. Although I got kicked out of school and had to take GED, I'm well-studied. And I'm still studying. I'm still a student forever. I'm forever a student. My son, I asked him, what is it that he loved to do? My youngest son. This Negro told me he loved to sleep. This Negro told me he loved to sleep. I said, okay. I said, did you know that there are business of sleeping? There are people that getting paid $5,000 to $10,000 per month or every 2 months or every 3 months to sleep. These are the space programs that are paying people at NASA to sleep, and they'll attach all types of stuff to your body so they can see how you operate in traveling to Mars or in a Martian environment. They have sleep apnea programs that they pay you to come and sleep. So if you like to sleep, Negro, which means niggas who's trying to grow up. That's what Dr. Khalid taught us years ago. Niggas who's trying to grow up. If you like to sleep, there's a business for that. There's a job for that. There's a program for that. Hilarious. You could also, they even got dream programs where people analyze your dreams and what you're going through in your head, connecting you to all kinds of stuff and apparatuses to see if you're dreaming and how many dreams per night. You get paid to do that. You can submit yourself. If you like to sleep, just make sure you don't develop any bed warts. Hopefully they get you up every now and then to go use the bathroom and don't develop any bed warts. But if you like to sleep, if you like to sleep, they'll hook you up into whatever apparatus and machine. So again, parents and their children, everyone has their path, their own path. Allow your children and your grandchildren to have their own path. This is parents that have grandchildren. This is your second choice. This is your second chance with your grandchildren. You may have messed up with your original children, but this is your second chance. I got 13 grandchildren. So I got 13 different chances now. 13 grandchildren from 4 of my boys, from their being married and dealing with the relationship. So I got 13 different chances. Although I got 9 children and 5 of them haven't had children yet, I got 4 children that had 13 children. So this is and every time I go around my grandchildren, it's like fun. I try to make sure I get down on the floor with them, laugh. I'll put them up. I'll pick them up. I'll play Ring Around the Rosie. I put up a video of me playing Ring Around the Rosie with them and, having fun with them. Things that in my entertainment days and chasing down radio and production and all that, I didn't get to do that much with my children. They was, and they came from different mothers. I was closer more to the second marriage because we had 4 children and we got married and all that. But the first one, Adam Prince Imagine has turned out to be an excellent, beautiful child. All of my children from my second marriage, and that's Prince Imagine from my first child, but I left that community. So I left him there and I didn't want to go back to that community ever again. So that's my fault. But I just could not be controlled. And, that's just my rebellious way. I could not be controlled and no woman was going to keep me there. No woman can keep you in a relationship, brother. No child can keep you in a relationship. When you need to go and move on and move forward, you're going to go. Sometimes, and it can happen to women too, but mostly the men, because when a man feels not respected, not honored, not shown any real love, we will leave that stuff alone. Leave that stuff. And one of my bosses years ago, he used to say, he said to me, and he was born under the number 16. And he said, because he analyzes, 16 is a very good analyst. I had 2 bosses that were born under 16. One was born January 16. One was born when I was working for people or working with people. One was born March the 16th. And one of those bosses said, Simon, I recognize that if you're not with something, you'll leave it alone. And yes, if I'm not with, if it's too much bull crap and too much stress, it's becoming too expensive to my well-being, I'm out. I'm leaving you alone. I leave women alone. I've left children alone because maybe that woman was too much for my mindset. I didn't feel like, I don't like to be screamed at by people. I don't like to be disrespected. I don't like to be, I do not like that. I'm just that person. And I learned that, and I can tell I learned that from my mother, because when my mother couldn't tolerate my father and his antics and the bull crap that he did and the womanizing that he did, she got rid of him, kept it moving. He was trying to get back and we at the window watching him, and he begging to come back. My mother wasn't tolerant. She's a Taurus. I got a Taurus North Node, so I know the Taurus is there with me. I got Taurus that shows up in my chart a couple times. So I know I got that hardcore type of attitude with my mother, where if it's not helping me to rise my mind to another level, because I'm a mental child, I got to deal with a lot of mental things. Being an Aquarius, you got to have my mind. And if you're effing with my mind and you're effing with my well-being, I'm leaving it alone. I can care less who you feel you are, who you are. My children can't even come to me and say anything crazy. And I'll just say, you know what? I'm good. Out of all 9 of you, if 1 of you or 2 of you decide to leave me alone, cool. At least I got 7 more. I get 6 more. I got grandchildren that's going to come looking for me. That's my mindset right now. Don't stress, because life is too short. A friend of mine just died there recently. Wumi, the African artist, just posted that one of the Congo drummers, a friend of mine who used to laugh and be jovial and happy all the time, he just transitioned. Life is too short for the bull crap. Life is too short. I'm not tolerating bull crap. Not tolerating crap and you trying to put your trauma on me. I'll help guide you. If I'm dealing in a relationship, whatever relationship I decide to get into, I'll help guide you. But if you're not willing to really grow and you want somebody to coddle you all the time, and you're not willing to go get no therapy or whatever, and you're not willing to grow grow out of it and learn to manage it and forgive and let go of it, I'm not holding your hands for too long. Sorry. I don't do that too well. I don't hold hands. I'm an eagle. I'm an eagle. I'm a phoenix. I'm a falcon. I'm all of that. And one of my favorite birds is a falcon, because it can look into the sun and fly over storms. That's one of my favorite birds. I'm a falcon. That's one of my totem birds, actually. I'm a falcon. And I don't see falcons carrying bricks. So if you're a falcon or an eagle or a phoenix, look at the next falcon that you see and the next eagle that you see. They don't carry bricks and loads for too long, unless they're going to get their prey, carry it to their nest to feed their little baby falcons and little baby eagles or phoenix. They're not carrying that stuff too long. And it's not that I don't love my family or love the women that I had children with, and I don't love the children. I'm not allowing anybody to take my mind there. And that's why y'all always hear me quote Les Brown. And I want them to be the same way. Don't allow anybody to bring you down to a lower level and a lower status. I tell my children that too. And y'all always hear me quote Les Brown. When things go wrong, don't go with it. When things go wrong, don't go with it. And I may not have been the best father from the woman's perspective or from my child's perspective. I was best for me, for my well-being, because I know what I went through. And if you don't want to bear witness to what I went through and you don't want to hear what I went through, then that's you. Cool. I respect what you went through and I respect your perspective. But if you don't want to hear what I went through and know what I went through with my parents and before that and all my people hating on me and all that kind of stuff just because of this, if you don't want to hear it, cool. But you're not going to bring me into some madness because of what you feel or what your mama told you about me and all that kind. I'm not doing it with them. I'm real. I'm a real person. And I hurt too, just like you hurt. Now we can start from here and grow and manage and heal from here, but I'm not going back there. That's one thing I've learned to do. I'm not going back there. We can go do a little therapy, do a little hypnotherapy, whatever, hypnosis or whatever, but I'm not going back to that. That's pulled me down to the point that I almost took my life 3 times in my life. It's in my book, Numerovation for Mental Stability, but the fullness of it is going to be in my autobiography, When the Late Bell Rang. That's going to be the fullness of what I'm going to explain. And I know it's going to be a roller coaster of rides because it's something that can relate to a lot of people out there. So on that note, family, I didn't mean to depress you. If you felt depressed, hopefully you felt liberated by my last words that I said, because our children are not ours. They come through us to be guided. And once we guide them the best we can, it's up to them on their own merit, on what they need to do. Now, if you have somebody that's disabled, now you have to take care of them. Okay, I understand that. I understand that. But I'm not, if they're not disabled and they got a good sense and you taught them well, they could either be like the prodigal son or daughter, like in that book of Luke. I believe that's in the book of Luke, the prodigal son or the prodigal daughter. It could be a prodigal son or daughter. They learned what they had to learn, but they still are welcome as long as they will. They can still get the fatty calf. They can still get the gold and the silver, but they got to be willing to heal and grow and let go. Forgive, heal, grow, and let go, because I've let go of that. That's why me and my father can talk today. My father's wife right now said, I can't come and visit my father because she believes I'm practicing witchcraft. I have to say, is it this witch or is it this witch? Which craft am I practicing? Which craft am I practicing? Is it this witch or is it this witch? Which craft am I practicing? Because of her overly zealous Christian mindset. And it helped save my father. But she don't know my father did a numerology session with me years ago to save their marriage, on how to make that marriage work. She don't know that. Now she knows if she's watching this. So witchcraft am I? And the word witch comes from the word Wicca, which means wise or wisdom, which means wise. The word witch comes from the word Wicca, which means wisdom or wise. So which craft am I practicing? Have a great day, afternoon, or evening, family. I love you because I love myself, and there's nothing you could do about it. I love myself. That's why I love my audience. I love people that I do numerovation sessions for. I love people who support me. I love people who send me Cash App and PayPal. Even if you can't, send me positive energy. I'm going down to Florida and I can't visit my father because his wife said I can't. Because she said I'm practicing witchcraft, which the word witch, if she ever studied and dig deeper, Europeans called people that had wisdom witches and burnt them at the stake because they knew more than them. We didn't do that in our ancient cultures. We understood the oracles. We understood the spiritual nuances. This is not an African word. The witch is not an African word. So witchcraft am I practicing? The word witch means Wicca, means wisdom or wise. Stay focused, family. Know the words, because in the words is where they fooled us. In the words is where they confused us. In the language, that's why they took away our language, our foreways, our moreways, and our norms. They took it away from us and then gave us a whole bunch of other crazy meanings. But they still have the connotative and the denotative meanings. That's why etymology is so important to study. Etymology or etymology, whatever you want to call it. Etymology is so important to study, because then you will know what the word witch means from an etymological perspective, from the etymon perspective. Wicca, wise. Everybody wants to be wise. Nobody wants to be dumb. And the only way you get to be wise is by studying, researching, applying, and activating it. All right. So family, thank y'all very much for being a part of my numerovational journey. No matter how long it goes, I don't know how long I'm going to be on this planet, but this has been live from the mathematical universe. I'm sorry I didn't allow people to call in. This time I just had to focus. And I want to thank everybody on Instagram. Thank everybody on YouTube. Thank everybody for tuning in. Thank all of you that put in, says something in the chat. All of you that put in something in the chat. Anybody that sent me a Cash App or PayPal, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love you. I respect you. I honor you because I love, I respect, and honor myself. Have a great day, afternoon, or evening. Be safe, be structured, be focused, and be numerovationally guided. All right? Take care. Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed. Hey, this is King Simon, the International Numerovator. Remember, get all my books on Amazon or go to linktr.ee/King Simon the Numerovator. And remember, don't forget to book my sessions at 347-496-1022. Book now. So remember, our job as studiers of these metaphysical, esoteric knowledge is to help enhance people to be better. I, as a numerovator, using the numbers, or quote-unquote numerals, and motivation to get people to understand why they need to activate their numbers to be their very best self and maximize it. Because the numerals hold a frequency. And if you're willing to turn up that frequency, then that frequency can help to guide you and navigate you to a higher height that will allow you to spiral to be your best self. We must remember that.